Hey guys, welcome back to the Wood and Metal Workshop. I'm Kent. And before we get back to the 98 Ford Ranger front bumper that we've been working on, just wanted to mention that the 2001 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD that we did some work to last winter, and the videos in the playlist has been really earning its keep this week. Some people said, oh no, you can't buy a 15-year-old truck with 200,000 miles on it and expect it to do anything or last very long. Well, this week proved them wrong once again, that you can buy an old truck with a lot of miles on it, as long as it's in good condition. I mean, you really do have to look and make sure that the frame's solid and that the engine's good and whatnot. But this week, went and towed a skid steer about 50 miles earlier in the week. A lot of that dirt gravel roads, highway speeds, no problems whatsoever. Then yesterday I went back and we picked up I'm saying a late 60s, early 70s 30-foot travel trailer, and hauled that 40 miles out to the hunting property for the guy, and popped the truck into four-wheel drive and backed that sucker into the woods and over roots and everything else. And yeah, I had to punch it into 4-low, and that locking rear differential did its work, and we were able to get the trailer positioned exactly where we wanted it, and turned around and hooked up to the skid steer again and hauled it back to town another 50 miles. So yeah, the old truck is not only does it look good from 20 feet, but it works hard from the driver's seat. So just a little update on that, and then we'll get back to work on the bumper here. When we left off, I had just finished tacking in the quarter pipe sections that we cut, and we're starting to get into the CAD work for the next areas of the bumper here. One thing we do have to remember is we've got these lower mounts that we made the tabs up for, that we're going to have to use to come in here and give that bumper some extra support. I don't want to count just on 2 pieces of thin wall square tubing to support this bumper. So going to take a look at that, and then we'll start on our CAD work. And before we weld everything in, we want to make sure we get those supports welded in as well. So at this point, next up is to grab some cardboard and pencil and measuring tape, and over on the bench here, and we'll be back and forth measuring, cutting, fitting, seeing what we want here. This is actually a pretty good design right here, where we can get all this stuff in where we want it, and it's nice and flat along here. I can give you a shot of this. Okay, what we need to do is we need to start over here, bring this back. We're going to put it back at an angle and come up at a little angle. It's not a 4-wheel drive, but I don't want just a flat bottom bumper coming through here. So we're going to bring it up at a little bit of an angle. And then the owner has requested that we bring the bumper back into this area and then continue this curve down to meet wherever we are in the bumper. He's not overly fussy about this, but he did want it to, come back into this area as well, with that, continue that curve for the wheel arch. So that's where we're at. We're going to get some cardboard and get going here. guys, we got this side all tacked up. I'm going to get some material to support this coming off this other bracket we built down here, and that's the design and setup procedure for this side. It's the exact same on the other side, mirror image. So we'll go ahead and get that all tacked up and get it pulled off for final welding. Well guys, I guess you get the idea. Weld, grind, go back, fill any holes. Now these are just cosmetic welds. They're not really structural. They hold the plates together, yes, but they're not designed to be full penetration, world's strongest welds. The reason for that is because they don't need to be. The idea is to hold the plates together and fill the gaps. So I'm going to go ahead and finish getting this ground out, and we'll come back and take a look to see for pinholes and whatnot, and then we'll weld those up, grind it again, and then we'll switch to a much finer flap disc and go ahead and take the do the finish, grind on everything, get it ready for paint. Alright, we'll be back with you in a little bit. Alright guys, sorry about the noise in the background. I got the air cleaner running to get the grinding dust out of the air in here. We got it all the first level of grinding done with the 80 grit flap disc. Now we've got to go ahead and put our returns on these. I didn't have any 1.5 or 2 inch strapping, so just went and cut some out of a sheet of steel. We're just going to go ahead and start tacking this in. If you go back to the last bumper build we did, you can see how we did the angles and stuff. I don't pre-cut any of this stuff. I get the angle that I want, be it very flat or fairly steep. This guy's going to go about a 45, and it's just about a 45. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to go ahead and start laying this out and tacking it in. Alright guys, got the other side done. Gonna go ahead and do this side on camera so you can see the process. Pretty simple process, it's not rocket surgery. Alright guys, one last step before we do the finish sanding. Well, one thing I like to do is take the putty knife and go over all the surfaces, removing any BBs. Go over with your hand as well. But last thing I need to do before we go ahead and do the finish sanding, when I had it on the truck, I used the emblem in the center of the grill to mark center line on the bumper. Which is right here. So the last thing I have to do here before the center line gets sanded away is I need to mark, drill, and tap for the bumper bolts, or the license plate bolts. Got my license plate. The easiest way to do this, of course, is just measure your license plate, which is 12 inches. I'm going to mark my 6. I'm going to line it up with the top edge on my mark. Mark my holes. Alright guys, as I mentioned before, we got the license plate holes done, so we're just going to go ahead and take a 120 grit flap disc on the grinder and just go over the whole thing, ease the edges a little bit, get it ready for paint. Alright guys, I'm just going to finish going over it with the 120, getting all the deeper scratch marks out of it. Now that I've not hit all the big areas, make sure that I've got all the BBs off. Not going to bother taking off all the scale. It's smooth already. Just want to put a little tooth in it for paint to grip, and then I'll just keep going over it. And there's a little BB mark right here. I can feel it with my finger, so we'll just go ahead and smooth that out. And anywhere else that there's deep scratch marks, we'll just work all those out with the 120, and we'll be back for paint. Alright guys, I went ahead and I already gave the inside a good coat of primer, and what I used was Rust-Oleum appliance epoxy spray can. It does a very good job of covering it, and it's very slick and slippery when it's done, so it's great for the inside of a bumper because everything just kind of slides off of it. Makes a nice interior surface. So for the outside now, we got to do this. I'm going to give it a quick wipe down with acetone. I like to keep my acetone handy in this little bottle. Refill this out of a big gallon or 5-gallon can, depending on what I have on hand, and just wipe it down. that dry and come back and give it a really light sanding with some like 320 grit wet dry paper, and then give it another coat of primer, let that dry, sand again, and then we'll go for our finish coat. Alright guys, first coat of primer is done. Gonna go ahead and instead of using a 300 wet dry or 320 wet dry, I'm going to use the blue Scotch-Brite. We let that dry, come back, hit it with the Scotch-Brite one more time, and then go with the Rust-Oleum truck bed liner, customer request. It's also the same stuff that I used on my bumper for my truck. He liked it, the way it looks, likes the way it's held up. It's been on there for, oh great, there's a bug stuck in the paint. Always seems to be something. So, anyhow, it's a black bug. It'll get wiped out and covered up. So yeah, so it holds up well. It's easy to touch up. That's what I like about it on a bumper. Powder coating is great, but if you get a scratch or a chip, you can't just touch it up. With the truck bed coating, you can touch it up as often as you want. Just quick wipe down with acetone and give it a spray, and you could actually spray the whole bumper fairly quickly and give it a whole new fresh coat. So, all right, we'll be back when this is dry and we're ready for the next step. Finished off this can, whole thing's coated. We're going to let it dry, and recoat time on this one in 1 hour and 24 hours. So set the timer, and give it about 45 minutes, come back, coat it again, and 2 coats should be enough on this. Alright guys, it's been 45 minutes. Timer just went off. It's still just a hair tacky, but I believe that's how we want it. So the next coat can bite into that coat. If it's completely, otherwise we have to wait 24 hours till it's completely dry. So I'm just shaking up a fresh can. Bumper's done. All we got to do is wait for it to dry. If you're doing this in truck bed, it says wait 72 hours before you put anything on it. We'll wait. It's just about 8 p.m. here now. Just gonna let this, we're done for the night. Just gonna let this sit and cure overnight, and we'll get it mounted up tomorrow. And then we have shocks and the sway bar end link, and this truck is out of here. Down the road, gone. See ya. Okay, it's going to be parked in the yard for about a week, but until the owner comes and gets it. But, or it could be longer. But yeah, this is going out, and I'm going to start on another project after this. We got going to build a forge. That's kind of a one-day quick project that we're going to do. Gonna repurpose some stuff that we already have and roll the forge in here. That will probably be a shop shorts video. Maybe. Haven't decided yet. Might be a little bit longer. We'll see. Depends on how I feel about it after this rolls out of the shop. And then we bring in the F350 for the flatbed. That should be a fairly quick project. There's no hurry on it. The guy is not in a hurry to get it. It's like his third truck. But when we get ready here in a couple of days, we'll be rolling that in and getting to work on that. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Tomorrow, shocks and sway bar end length